A vital part of my healing journey has been confronting the ways I've unknowingly contributed to my own suffering. And that's vulnerable to admit because there aren't many spaces where people talk about this besides in therapy, and because it's hard to look at yourself honestly without flinching. When I was around 5 or 6 years old, I unknowingly shared something I wasn't supposed to, and I was labeled as bad. It deeply impacted the relationships around me. Looking back now, I can see that the adults involved weren't emotionally regulated and didn't have the tools for conflict resolution among themselves. But as a child, of course, I didn't know that. Over time, I internalized that label. I began to believe others saw me as rotten at my core whenever I didn't act or think accordingly as everyone else did. And so, without realizing it, I started living my life in response to that perception. I wanted to be seen as good, so I became the star student. I learned how to say the right things, learned how to be the bigger person. I went to the right college and aimed for jobs that made me look good, even though I didn't feel good in them. I hid the parts of myself that felt inconvenient or misunderstood, because I believed they would only reinforce that story of being bad. And in living that way, I buried myself inside roles and expectations I could no longer pretend were me, all in the pursuit of being perceived as good. Eventually, I learned that way of living was only a response to trauma. So where did I go from there? I slowly became aware that living as someone I wasn't quietly fed into my suffering. Healing for me has meant being radically honest with myself in a gentle way, unmasking the labels, returning to the pain, and finding a more compassionate way forward. It's also been helpful to release my control to manage how others perceive me. This work hasn't been easy, and I've started over more times than I can track, but when it leads you back home to yourself, it's worth returning to the beginning as many times as it takes.